This episode of FineScale Modeler's new product rundown features Wingnut Wings' big, beautiful Felixstowe, Orochi's M3A3 Bradley, Eduard's SSW D.III biplane, and a bunch of detail to go with it, and Aoshima's Thunderbird 3. Hi and welcome to another edition of FineScale Modeler's new product rundown. I'm Tim Kidwell, here to tell you about Wingnut Wings' new 1/32 scale Felixstowe F.2A. Now, this was designed by Royal Navy Lieutenant Commander John Cyril Port, and the flying boat, it patrolled the North Sea looking for Zeppelins and U-boats. Did you want to say something, Eric?
You're actually going to give me a chance?
Oh, sure, go ahead. You got anything?
Yes.
Okay.
The Felixstowe's stepped hydrodynamic hull improved takeoff and landing, and it actually becomes the standard for flying boat design thereafter.
What kind of hull was that?
Stepped hydrodynamic.
And what did it help with?
Takeoff and landing.
There you go. In 1/32 scale, the Felixstowe's wingspan is almost 36 inches. It's a big airplane, and this box is slam full of parts.
Parts that are everything we expect. There's engraved wood planking on the bottom of the hull.
And rib and fastener detail on the wings. The long, long wings. Fortunately, Wingnut's design allows the wings to be left loose for ease of storage and transport.
Doing so will probably require modification to the rigging.
There's a ton of detail inside, including wooden floors and frames, controls, fuel tanks with plumbing, engineer's position, Lewis guns, and more.
The two Rolls-Royce Eagle 7 engines are completely exposed on the full-size airplane, and there's a lot to see in the kit. Crankcase, sump, cylinders with pipes and rockers, carburetors, and radiators. There are even starter crank handles.
There's a pair of 230-pound bombs to fit the racks under the wings, and Wingnut supplies a beaching trolley and trestles to display a land-bound Felixstowe.
Photo Etch Brass supplies seat belts, gun sights, gun brackets, and control line keepers. The thin, sharply molded windscreen and windows are crystal clear.
This big, complex airplane is held together by a lot of rigging and control lines. There's stuff inside the cockpit, around the tail, and the wings look like a crazy cobweb.
Cartograph decals provide markings and stencils for 5 flying boats, including 2 dazzle schemes that the Felixstows are known for.
Dude, Wingnut Wings never does anything small, and the Felixstowe just proves how huge they can go.
Indeed. Can you get it for me by April 1?
No, but Chuck Davis might.
Okay.
For years, if you wanted to build a Bradley fighting vehicle, you basically had 2 choices, a kit from either Tamiya or Academy.
Yeah, and if you wanted to build the latest version with extra armor, as used in Iraq and Afghanistan, you had to convert one of those.
Now, for the second time in 7 months, we get to talk about 1/35 scale Bradley. Last time it was Meng's M3A3 fighting vehicle.
This time it's Orochi's M3A3 cavalry fighting vehicle. The CFV differs from the infantry fighting vehicle by being less of an armored personnel carrier and more of a reconnaissance vehicle. It's got more room for ammunition and less troop seating.
Now, this kit is the standard edition as opposed to the deluxe edition, which includes metal tracks and a metal gun barrel.
The suspension incorporates road wheel arms keyed for alignment. Polycaps make wheel installation easy.
The individual link plastic tracks are designed to be workable.
The upper hull is molded with some of the added armor in place, as well as non-skid texture. The rest of the busk armor is provided in large blocks.
A few of the hatches are separate and, although not called out in the instructions, may be operable with careful gluing. There's no interior detail.
The tow launcher can be shown stowed or ready for use, and the one-piece barrel for the Bushmaster looks terrific.
Clear parts provide periscopes, sighting optics, lights, and the ballistic glass panels for the commander's position.
A small photo etch metal fret includes grills and screens.
A second metal fret is a mask for painting the road wheels and track blocks. A nice touch.
A small decal sheet provides markings for a single U.S. Army M3A3 as well as placards and stencils.
Orochi's produced a great-looking kit of a modern fighting vehicle.
Eduard proves that remakes are sometimes better than the original. In our third kit today, a 1/48 scale Siemens Schuckert D.III.
In 1993, Eduard branched out of making aftermarket parts to create their first full-fledged model kit, the D.III.
Akin to a short-run kit, it had thick plastic parts marred by flash. The interior was almost all photo-etched metal. More than 20 years later, they revisit the portly biplane with this all-new kit.
And just looking at it in the box, I got to tell you, I think it's a beaut. It reminds me of a Wingnut Wings kit.
High praise indeed, Mr. Kidwell. Molded in dark grey, the two plastic sprues exhibit all of the know-how Eduard has gained.
Surface detail is exquisite. Fine engraved panel lines on the fuselage, ribs including raised stitching on the flight surfaces, and tiny rivets and fasteners.
The cockpit comprises molded stringers and separate frames, optional plastic or photo-etched metal seat back. There are pedals, control stick, and decal instruments.
The 11-cylinder rotary engine looks just as good with separate intake and exhaust manifolds, fuel tank, and mount.
Photo-etched metal provides a harness, machine gun cooling jackets, a flare rack, and turnbuckles and anchors for rigging.
Comprehensive rigging diagrams help in that department. Decals mark options for 5 colorful D.3s, including lozenge and rib tape.
Now this is a nice looking kit in its own right, but if you want to take things a step further, Eduard has you covered with these 3 detail sets.
In the Brasson line, there's a drop-in replacement engine with resin cylinders, intakes, and crankcase. Photo-etched metal push rods and other details round out the set.
Also under the Brasson name is a set of machine guns, including resin and photo-etched metal cooling jackets. Tiny metal and resin bits make these kits unto themselves.
Finally, Eduard offers fabric seat belts embellished with photo-etched metal hardware.
This looks like a fun build.
Chuck Davis.
Speaking of fun, our final kit today is Aoshima's 1/350th scale Thunderbird 3 and launch bay.
This is one of the ships from Jerry Anderson's famed Supermarionation series, which related the adventures of International Rescue.
Campy good fun. The kit at the heart of this blast from the past is the Thunderbird 3 ship released in 2013.
Molded in multicolored plastic, the parts show a good level of detail, true to the original ship, including optional parts for different filming miniatures.
I really appreciate the slide molding used for the rocket sections. Should go a long way to eliminating out-of-round ship shapes.
The rocket itself is relatively uncomplicated, and the instructions alignment diagram should make construction a breeze.
Painting and decaling are going to be the key to a great-looking model.
What sets this release apart is the inclusion of the launch bay. It builds up from a combination of styrene parts, photo-etched metal ladders, cranes and railings, and foam board.
Printed paper wall panels cover the last.
Decals provide markings and stripes for the ship.
I'm almost embarrassed to admit how much I dig this kit.
You should be embarrassed.
Story of my life.
Look for reviews of the Felixstowe, the Bradley, and SSW in an upcoming issue of FineScale Modeler magazine.
And you can see more of these and other new products in the February issue, on sale now.
Thanks for visiting FineScale.com. I'm Tim Kidwell.
And I'm Aaron Skinner. We'll see you next time. The CFV differs from the infantry fighting vehicle by being a crap. Can we just start this again?